There are a lot of measurements, right, for the world, for all of us. There are a lot of measurements of success, of achievement, of age, of status, of gender, of marriage, single, divorced, widowed, all the ways to measure. And yet, we don't measure in love too often, do we? We give it a lot of lip service, right? We talk about it and we celebrate it in Valentine's Days and flowers and it turned it into a commercial industry. But do we really put love first? That success is actually measured by how much you love. Not even how much you're loved, but how much you love others and how much that love can do in the world. The Gandhi quote that's up on the screen now is, "Where there is love, there is life." And we have this great example in our sanctuary today. Little Oliver is sitting there again. He's such a good baby. He's astonishing, right? But I think about it every time I see him too, that none of us, not a single one of us, would be here without being loved. In some way, shape, or form, we all have been loved into existence. And the studies show us that a baby who is not given affection and love will literally wither and die. We need it, and we need to give it. That's why we're all intuitively, or a lot of us are drawn to children, because it's an opportunity just to be unabashedly silly and loving and carefree, because that's what's required to foster us. And you know, we get caught up frequently caught up on what we didn't get in our childhood, how our parents weren't capable of loving us the way we needed to be loved. I know this because I've sung this song way too many times, right? And even when I thought I was done with that tune, I find myself singing it again, right? Because there are so many layers of that healing. But what I've come to know and what I've come to step into is that the only way to heal that need for whatever love I didn't get in my childhood, or I think I didn't get in my childhood, the only way to heal it is to love others now. It's not to get love, it's to give it, to actually step out and give the love I think I needed. And when we can shift that from receiving to giving, the receiving becomes automatic because we've changed. We've shifted our being. Instead of being this someone who needs something from the world, needs something from our relationships, needs something from others, we shift ourselves into some being, the person who's here to give love to the world. And there is no lack. I want you to hear me again. There's no lack. You can never run out of love. You can give love and it won't be returned to you. You can give love and people will seem to trample all over it. You can give love and you can be betrayed. It doesn't diminish the love. What diminishes the love is withdrawing yourself and closing off your heart and saying, see, that didn't work. That's what diminishes the love, not what happens in the outside world. Giving, expecting something in return, is not love. It's a quid pro quo. It's a deal that we're making. And we know how much we love the art of the deal. Especially in this room, right? Right? So if we've set our whole life on, it's a deal. You're going to love me. I'm going to take care of you. You're going to do this. I'm going to do that. Then we are in a transaction rather than an experience of love. How many people here have had their heart broken? Anyone not? Right? So, did you survive? Keep your hand up. You had your heart broken? Other hand up if you lived through it. And this is how you testify. Right? God is good all the time because there is no one source of your love. You are the source of your love, the divine energy of life, of God, of spirit, of source, of divine mind, whatever you want to call it, Jesus. This is love to so many people. And that's why when I look at more fundamentalist or evangelical and traditional religions, and they talk about Jesus, they talk about it in the concept, in the concepts, and in the language of love. And often, I have noticed in our progressive churches, that we look on that with derision, something less than love. And so who's being more loving in that moment? The fundamentalists or us? We have the opportunity, as we light this candle for love, is to shift how we think about love and ask not how much we're getting, but how much we can give. I love this quote from Paul Tillich. The first duty of love is to listen. The first duty of love is to listen. We can listen to others without planning in our mind what we're going to say to them. We can listen to others without planning what they should do. We can listen in our hearts and know that we are connected to them, that they are a mirror of our own lives and our own journey, and that they are perfect. We don't have to fix them. When we listen with love to the voice in our own head, we stop doing the crazy things that keep us stuck. I've shared with you many times that when I actually looked at myself in the mirror and stopped using drugs and alcohol, my life changed. And I stand before you today because I listened to the voice that told me to pick up the phone and ask for help. The first duty of love to ourselves is to listen to that innate wisdom that knows what the next right step is. The first duty of love is just to be and listen. Then we can decide how to take action, or if any action is absolutely needed. We live in a world that is far from perfect. We live in bodies, human bodies that are far from perfect. And yet we are divine expressions of life itself, of God itself. We are multifaceted. We are diverse. We are complicated. And we are human. We are spiritual beings having a human experience, not human beings having a spiritual one. We are here so that spirit can be known in these instruments we call our bodies, our minds, and our voice. So when we want to make change in this very imperfect world, the first step we need to do is to do it from love. MLK has this quote: "Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. And hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that." So who are you withholding your love from today? Who, what group, what entity, what person, what individual, what situation are you withholding your love from today? We all do it. Take a deep breath. It's okay. We're all forgiven because we're going to forgive ourselves right now, right? But we all could do better. If we did, we wouldn't complain about the world so much because we'd be doing something about it. Maya Angelou sat in this community and learned about our unity teachings, God, 60 years ago now, in the 1950s, 60s. She sat in here, so 60 or 70 years ago. Maya Angelou sat with us. And she says this about love. Love recognizes no barriers. It jumps hurdles, leaps fences, penetrates walls to arrive at its destination full of hope, right? When you love, when you choose love over fear and hate, when you love when it's difficult to do, when you don't want to, when you open your heart and allow yourselves to be fully vulnerable, fully transparent, and love wastefully, love without limitation, love extravagantly, the world will change, bridges will be built, walls will tumble, and new structures will arise because that love is attractive. You're attractive when you love. I know snarky can be fun, right? We love a good RuPaul's Drag Race because they're so bitchy. But at the same time, true, right? At the same time, the transgender and the drag community are filled with self-care and self-love. They take care of each other and they lift each other. And if we did it for them as well, if we did it every step of the way and every moment of the day, what would be the possible for the world? Can you imagine? Marty's like, oh, yeah, can you imagine that if we lived like this? If we left this room where it's so easy to feel the love and walked out onto the street and operated in love in all of our dealings, in our business dealings, in our random encounters with workers, in street driving, we wouldn't be screaming at other cars on the road. Someone identifies with that one, right? When I had adopted Toby, and I was driving him to high school every morning because that's the only way we were sure he got there. So I would drive him to high school every morning and drop him off at the front door. And as we were driving to high school in the city of San Francisco, he's screaming at other drivers, screaming at the top of his lungs at other drivers because they cut me off or whatever perceived slight that had happened. And I just finally one day looked at him and said, you know, they can't hear you. But I can. And he was like, yeah, but it makes me feel good. I was like, all right. So when we can shift from the blame and the judgment to the love, might we understand what's going on in the world? Understanding and compassion for others' journey is a commodity that is really missing in our world, in our politics, in our religion, in religions, in our spiritual nature. We are so judgmental of other people's paths. And I say that from experience, right? I've done it. I grew up Catholic, and a lot of my friends would say, oh, I'm a recovering Catholic. You know what? That's not kind. There are amazing things the Catholic Church has done. There are amazing Catholic theologians who have elevated us all. The quote I just did a few moments ago, we are not human beings having a spiritual experience, we are spiritual beings having a human one. It's by a Catholic theologian. I borrow it. And that understanding of our true point, of our evolution in consciousness, our evolution in understanding, our evolution to the Christ nature, not a person. Jesus was not last name was not Christ. It was Jesus of Nazareth. He has no last name. But the Christ is a concept that we're all evolving to. When we let go of our human limitations and our human foibles, when we let go of protecting ourselves, and we let go of withholding, to step into loving, to step into faith and peace and love. Those are the reasons we light the candles behind me. That is the reason we come here on Sunday, to find out how to do it differently. I know we think if you're like me, I've been coming to Unity for so long now. I got it. I went to ministerial school. I got it. Yeah, no, I don't. Right? I'm learning it. I knew when I decided to become a minister that the reason I could do this was because I would be willing to just go down the road a little bit and double back and talk to you about what's ahead. And go down the road a little further and then come back and talk to you about what's ahead. So what's ahead for us? Love. Love unbridled. Love unlimited. Love without having to make ourselves better than anyone else. Love with an open heart. Love without judgment and expectation.